Well, I just pressed record and it immediately recorded this video, so I didn't really have that much time to prepare. But anyways, I guess I'll head over and get my notebook, because I wrote down a couple things in it. School notebook that I have in my backpack. Sorry. I just have a few things written down here. It's important. Okay. I'll begin my talk, I guess. And I guess I'll just start with one of my notes that I put down. And I've been observing time, pretty much a lot of time, because I'm really into history and all of that, and all of those things, and I just find it interesting how the decades have a different style and a whole different culture. What is seen as bad and terrible in one decade will see you granted as like a big star in another decade. So many things change technologically, culturally, all of that, and and I feel as if I've lived through some of them, like some before I was even born. But I don't really feel as if I lived in the 80s. I feel if I possibly lived in the 90s or 2000s, because I feel oddly connected to those years. And I guess I did live in the 2000s for 2 years because I was a little child, but the whole cultural aspect of the 2000s, more just looking in as a strange little boy, see what everything is. And yeah, I just kind of lost all concept of thought and all of that. Because I managed to get completely distracted. Because I don't really think I can have this whole decade characterization note that I wrote down even tied to anything else that I wrote down in the books, or nothing like that, because it's so different from everything. And in these videos, I need to find some way to create an interconnecting line between the topics, if you will. And I think I pulled it off for some, but for this one it may be sort of hard, I'm not sure. Anyways, this is something that I've noticed, and I guess I'll just start talking about it. And I usually refrain from talking about these topics because I'd sound completely insane. But, yes, over pretty much all my life I've noticed that I can sort of manifest things. It feels like it. It's not like truly conscious manifesting, or something's going to appear right in front of me. It's very, I guess, subtle. I'm still able to pick up on it. For example, I could be thinking of something, thinking of a specific phrase or a specific concept while I'm in school. Then the automatons, little humans next to me, they go and start talking about that concept. And there's no other stimuli that would actually have them talking about that concept. It's not like it appears on the monitor or something. No, they just randomly start talking about it. And this occurs within 5 seconds of me thinking about it. This has happened many times. Another thing is just... That's one of the biggest examples. It's happened so many times in different manners that it's hard for me to even discuss or remember the exact things. But I guess with manifestation, I recently learned that my birthday, 888, August 8th, 2008, in numerology coincides with like yes, the number 888 put together coincides with just reincarnation, manifestation, being lucky, uh, tons of other things like that. I believe it also has some sort of biblical meaning as well, which is odd. Just, I've always been so fascinated by that date. As I see it, it's just like my life has some sort of purpose, and I see these little hints that something, someone, or just myself has an eye on me, granting me little tiny things of more awareness than the others, and just all that. I usually do something, and it could really come back to bite me in the ass, but somehow, some way, I always manage to get right out of it, to slide right out of it, in a variety of coincidences, getting out of trouble and all of that. Something that always stops me, and sometimes something bad happens to me, but that bad thing that happens to me doesn't really affect me that much, and that bad thing that happens to me through a butterfly effect leads to a really good thing happening for me. And this thing just happens over and over and over again, the same cycle. Like sometimes a bad thing happens, but then it just leads to good. Something preferable for me. And in general, I think people would see my life as very desolate, very shitty, because I never really connected with anyone, not online or anything like that. It's just, I haven't connected with anyone outside of a computer screen or similar device to a computer. So it's just hard, I guess. And after enough time, this puts in your mind a lot of ideas, and just all of that, and sometimes they're suicidal ideas, but they're not exactly, it's not like I yearn for it, not exactly, it just feels as if it's dictated, like something I have to follow, but now I don't really feel like doing that ever, unless there's something that really had to force my hand. So, yeah, I just randomly get onto rambling about things like this, because I lose my train of thought. But I have more notes that I wrote down on here. The two that I just, I guess, read out and talked about were put on a little Discord server that I have that's just me in it. I just write down ideas and stuff there sometimes, and I used to store descriptions for my YouTube channel there. Now, I quit that YouTube channel. It's over now. I'm free from something that's consumed my life for about a year. Not really consumed my life, but it was always ever present. But now that's gone. Because I remember I set up the channel in October of 2023. October of 2024, it closes. It's meant to be, it's all these things. Probably closed on the same day that I rebranded it. But that's okay. Anyways, speaking of what I was talking about earlier, these weird, strange beliefs I have, I've concocted another one. I just generally call it synthesis, which is, I guess, some sort of weird form of pantheism, Sort of, I don't really know. But it just feels like I'm connected to things. With a synthesis, if you will. So furthering the connection to just things through actions which I feel guide me. It's hard to even describe, but I feel like I'm guided by things. To do specific actions. Fuck, I just got called. Well, I'm back now. I had the bright idea of actually pausing the recording instead of just cutting it off, and given my position, it's unlikely anyone even heard my name in this recording. He's calling me from quite a far distance. Sorry, I'm just out of breath. Anyways, elaborate on strange beliefs. And I lost my train of thought because I just had to do all that shit, and now I'm back. Well, I guess if there's another thing to comment on, it's that yes, elaborate on strange beliefs. So I guess due to all the weird little supernatural things that occur in my life, and they've been occurring pretty much far before I've started receiving things that look like hallucinations and all that on practically a weekly or daily basis. Like sometimes they're audio, sometimes they're visual, but mostly visual, and they don't last for long. But I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about strange occurrences that happen, and they happen kind of often, and it sort of just leaves me thinking that there is something out there. A god, perhaps, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's not a god in any of the big religions or anything like that. It's just some intelligent being that likely has godlike powers. For some reason, it's taken an interest in me. I don't know why, but I just sort of have that feeling. And given how strange my whole life has been, I don't really think that's too far out of a possibility. I think it's just sort of the strange beliefs. Because if there is no God as of now, it's likely that God will be created in some form. It's just sort of meant to happen. He'd be created possibly in the future, then he'd change the past. Or he'd always be there. It's a really odd paradox, and I can't even really begin to explain it, but I feel it's very, very likely that God exists. Just not in the ways that anyone's really usually told. Atheists and people like those, they like to discount it because there's no scientific evidence. And for the most part it does work for the big religions, but they just fail to account for so many little things. So many little things, and you add them all together and you can see the big picture. But this big picture that you can see is practically undecipherable to humanity. Or at least the vast majority of them. So for the most part, there is no big picture as far as all of you are concerned. I guess you can only figure that out if you're dead, if at all. What else must I talk about? School goes by so fast. And this is something that I think about a lot because I'm still in school as of the recording of this video, and I used to think it went by so slow and all that, but now it just goes by like nothing, and I think that's good. It goes by so fast. I get all the good grades and I just return home. And being home, that also kind of goes by pretty fast, but in comparison to how school is, it's much slower. So I just speed through every period, and I get out, and then it just kind of ends. I'm free, and I'm happy about it. Very happy about it. Very happy that I don't have to go to that shithole for the time being. It's a Tuesday as I'm recording this, so I have to go to school for 3 more days in a row. I have to go through the cycle. And also when I'm recording this, it's windy, really windy. I feel as if the structures of the house I'm in are just getting tossed around a little bit. It's really windy. It's like just short of a tornado type windy. It's like you can hear it from inside of my house and all that. I want to make more things, I want to draw more things, I want to just do all of that. Maybe one day I'll get a guitar and I'll start trying to learn that. Well, now maybe I think I've ran out of ideas for this video. So I guess I'll end it. Maybe. I'll probably end it now. Yes. I want to make another video in the future. Pretty soon. And if I could think about the topics, it's just me delving in more about the innate selfishness of society and all of that. So absorbed they are in themselves and in others. But in others, their absorption is very shallow. They only care about the pursuits of the flesh, for the most part. But now, I guess I'll just end the video, because that's a whole video on its own. Goodbye.